Hotter Than Health. My name is Eliza Gelman. If this is your first time listening, welcome. So happy you're here. We hopefully will be motivating you today. Hopefully you will jump on board with the topic for today. Either way, I'm just happy you're here. I mentioned a couple episodes, we are slightly restructuring the podcast to give you more tangible takeaways, more content, more value, more examples, more application, and essentially it's just going to be less all over the place, which I think we all need sometimes. We still want it to be fun, but we also don't need to go down so many rabbit holes. Let's get into today's episode. I am sitting at my computer. I have recorded a couple of mini pockets of episodes today, and I'm just feeling so motivated. It is 3:50 on Sunday. It's Mother's Day. I do pre-record some of these episodes just because we build the content, we put it together, we build the resources and all that good stuff. And today it's simple, but it is powerful. And it's Sunday, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, especially to my angel mom. And I know she's out there looking out for me, guiding the podcast to exactly who needs to hear it, to exactly who is going to be most profoundly affected by it. Today we're talking about 75 hard. And before you say, oh, that's lame, oh, I've heard about it, oh, I would never do something like, whatever your limiting thoughts are, before you get into it, hear me out. I know. Hear me out. I have recorded this episode once before, and it was in 2019. A completely different person. That was about 5 years ago. I was in such a weird headspace. I remember it was one of the more high anxiety times of my entire life. Couldn't get a grasp on my emotions, couldn't regulate my nervous system. There were just so many things going on in my life that I couldn't get a handle on. And I thought, oh, well, what's one thing I can control? And it was my eating, it was my exercise. And I really did it in a way that may not have been the healthiest for me. It may not have been the right time, but there's really no view like 2020. Like hindsight is always 2020. Let's go back and take a look. We will go back and take a look at some ways that it might not have been beneficial, but we are going to look at ways that I'm going to be doing 75 hard this time, which is going to be more productive, more beneficial, and overall a added benefit to my life now that I understand myself a little bit more. To introduce you, if you haven't heard of what 75 hard is, it is a concept and a challenge that was created by a man named Andy Frisella. If you haven't looked him up and you need a little motivation, he is someone that will whip your butt into gear. Andy Frisella is a motivational podcaster, speaker, businessman, entrepreneur. He's a really intense guy and he's super motivational. Really love it. Now you might be thinking, okay, before we jump in, Andy Frisella created this challenge called 75 Day Hard. And within this challenge, it's 75 days of a few different specific protocols. I am here to tell you that I understand there are some people out there who are of the belief that if you do 75 hard, it doesn't count if you don't do it to the exact degree and tenth that Andy Frisella has created it to be. Great. I am not of that camp. If that's you, then I'll walk you through some of the things that it recommends doing. I am of the camp that anything that I need to do to create consistency in my life, that is what I'm going to do. I don't need to be 110% every single day, but I do want to be consistent. Here is what the typical and original 75 Day Hard protocol is. 75 Day Hard, it's created to build self-discipline. It is created to build healthy habits, to help you transform, to knock you into gear and really make you believe in yourself and say, I can do hard things. I can do hard things that challenge me, but that I know are good for me. I can break through my barriers. I can break through my monkey mind. I can work through what comes up and understand that in these moments and challenges, things will come up. I will be experiencing dis-ease and feeling maybe like I want to break at a certain time. What can we learn about ourselves in when we take away some of the habits that might not be serving us anymore? So the original 75-day hard protocol is, and do not turn this off just because you hear one thing and you're like, oh wait, no, absolutely not, never mind, because we're going to get into the real life conversation that goes on behind this. It is 2 workouts per day, each of them 45 minutes, one of them being outside. It is a certain diet, which you create yourself, but usually something that is clean. And alongside that, no alcohol for 75 days, a gallon of water for 75 days, 10 pages in a nonfiction book. Audiobooks do not count. 10 pages in some type of personal development or nonfiction book. Again, audiobook does not count. There's also progress pictures that are involved. So each day you take a photo of yourself. Again, I'm not sending these to anybody. These are not for anybody but my eyes. They're not going into like anything public. It's simply just for accountability. Those are the original 75-day hard protocol details. What we're doing this time is we are crafting a 75-day hard that follows the skeleton of principles but making it so that we can stay consistent. Like, let's actually take a look at our life and say, okay, does it necessarily, if you're in Milwaukee or Boston and it's the middle of winter, one of your workouts might, unless you have 12 huskies and can go Alaskan sledding, one of your workouts likely won't be outside. Let's call it what it is. Right now, it is May in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's absolutely perfect weather, so I'd be happy to be outside. But sometimes in the summer there are storms, so if it's pouring rain, I'm not going to go outside and go for a run and do burpees. It's just not going to happen. I also travel a lot for work. My boyfriend, he literally travels as his job. So there are going to be times when being outside, doing 2-a-days, it's not going to happen. The reason I'm doing this, and the reason we are doing this, is because it has less to do with body transformation, more to do with when we eliminate distractions and focus on personal discipline when it comes to personal health and mindset, what are other things that we can be building at this time? If you have been thinking, I want another revenue stream, or I really want to focus on my independence, learning how to be by myself. Maybe you just went through a breakup. Maybe you are in a season of trying to figure out what your career path is. Maybe you're trying to figure out some internal underlying health issues. What does that look like for you? Maybe you're going through a period of really intense anxiety and you simply want to have something that you can hold yourself accountable with. We can go through all of those things. I'm going to walk you through what I've created as my skeleton. And this is also me knowing that at certain times of the month, based on where my hormones are, I'm not going to be doing 2 intense workouts a day. It's not going to happen. That's not going to be good for my hormones. It would have a negative impact on my hormones. This is going to be something that I stick to the skeleton of, but can adapt so that I'm not putting myself into a hole and receiving the opposite benefits. So instead of doing 2 intense workouts or 2 workouts for 45 minutes a day with one of them at least being outside, my goal is to do 1 workout. And if it's the week before my period and I'm feeling really low, I will do a small, low impact 45-minute stretching, lengthening Pilates class where maybe I don't even breathe through my mouth at any point in time. And then I would go on a slow walk for 20 minutes and follow that by a slow stretch for my next 45 minutes. If I am out on a work trip and we have a work dinner, I will still wake up in the morning and do a mini workout, whether it's a walk, whether it's weights, whatever it is. Maybe during that lunch day though, maybe during my lunch break, I'll take a 15-minute walk and then maybe do a 30-minute stretch at the end of the night. I will do something to combine to make 45 minutes. I'll still try and get that in, but give myself more grace on the times for my work trips. Those are the 2 for I'm going to try and do 2, really feel good workouts, but I'm also going to stick to fueling myself really well. And that goes into diet, which is the next tier. My quote unquote diet is simply just not having fried foods and super processed foods and no sugary drinks. And I'm not someone who drinks a bunch of Coca-Cola. I don't drink Coca-Cola. I'm not out there like chugging Mr. Pibbs on the regular. This is even things like poppy and stevia drinks or super sugary coffee drinks, which once in a while I love, like, don't get me wrong. I want to stick to water. I want to stick to, if I get a coffee, get an Americano or just simply make my own. And then I'll still do electrolytes and I will still do, I'll do a bubbly water. That's fine. Otherwise, clean. But I'm still going to have some like dark chocolate squares, but I get the Hue brand. There's no added processed ingredients, and that'll be once in a while. There's no alcohol, and I'm going to try for a gallon of water per day and incorporate a little bit of electrolytes. I do think that if you are getting 2 intense workouts a day, great, get your gallon of water. But if you find that it's throwing off your electrolyte balances and you're getting crazy headaches or whatever side effects are happening, maybe you modify the amount of water you get, especially if you're not working out really hard, you're just doing 2 really light walks or stretching per day. Your body might not really need, or if you're 5 feet tall or you're super, super teeny, a gallon of water is a ton. So be mindful of that with yourself. The 10 pages in a nonfiction book I'm really excited for. And I wanted to give you all a couple of recommendations for books depending on who you are, what you like, what your goal is, what is your purpose for doing the 75-day hard challenge. I personally am reading one right now for work. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. So I'm going to be reading a couple pages of that along with, there's some other books that I love. Outlive by Peter Attia. It has been accredited so many times. Peter Attia, if you haven't already heard of him, which I bet if you're into health and wellness podcasts, you have, he wrote Outlive, and it's basically just about longevity, and he taps into chronic disease. He talks about the benefits of working out. Like, he breaks it down to a very scientific level, but he makes it incredibly easy to digest. Outlive by Peter Attia is a great one if you're doing this for overall longevity and want something motivating and to arm yourself with information. The next, and this is especially if you're in a stage of your life where you are trying to up level, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. That's one that I want to have on standby. Again, if you are someone who sticks to audiobooks typically, I would agree. Audiobooks are great, but for this challenge, it's only 10 pages. If you can do 5 at night, 5 in the morning, think about how much time you spend on your phone. I would get the hardback. Go onto Amazon, find the book, and buy it used. They're usually 50% or more off. They're super cheap. Buy it used, or go to your public library and check that one out. So there's Outlive by Peter Attia, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. I'm reading Unreasonable Hospitality right now. If you are someone who has if you're a person of faith and you want a more spiritual background, maybe you are tapping into, maybe you used to go to church, you loved that period of your life, or you want to surround yourself with more people who are also on a spiritual path, you can read A Purpose-Driven Life, which is I've read it, I'm reading it for the second time. It's really positive. It is super faith-based, others-based, focuses on just having a strong heart posture, being loving, being kind. Like, what are your overall principles of the way you live your life? And of course, there's if you are in a place of faith, then you could read the Bible. And I know that sounds crazy, but some people, look, I'm for it. I'm totally for it. And it's something I'm going to be incorporating in before I go to bed. But little things and having stories to arm yourself with, like, if you're really in a tough space, maybe you arm yourself with some scripture. I know that sounds pretty out of left field for me to say, that I've never really talked about on the podcast. It's something I think is important, especially if you're doing something like 75 Day Hard, where you're already tapping into your health and wellness. And you are already saying to yourself, okay, this is going to be a challenge. What better way to arm yourself than with faith? Because there are going to be times when you cannot see the progress. You cannot see the benefits. And faith, you can't see faith. I'm a big proponent of that. And then the progress picture, I'll probably still do that. I hope I don't forget some days. If you are a forgetful person, hello, me, Scatterbrain McGee, there's an app, a 75 Day Hard app, that you can basically just hit the button that you have completed XYZ thing. It doesn't go to anybody. It's not going to send you a ton of notifications, but I think I am going to use that just to keep me accountable. I sometimes go through the day, think, oh, wow, I've got this. Like, I've done all that I need to do. And then I forget a progress picture, or I forget I'm accidentally find myself falling asleep or scrolling, and then I realize it's bedtime, but I haven't read. It's just easy. There is a 75 Day Hard app. All of this is to say, I would love y'all's accountability. Y'all know I'm not a big drinker, so it's not the alcohol part of this that I'm thinking so much about. It's more the discipline of the workouts for me, because as much as I love to work out, I also don't love being told what to do. And if I feel like I have to do something, then I'm more reluctant to do it. I want to keep finding ways to find joy in this. So for accountability, if y'all could keep me and yourselves joyful, that would be fabulous. Keep it joyful, keep it fun. I don't want to take myself too seriously. The last time I did this, oh my God, I think I lasted 56 days. And I reclused myself. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to be around anybody, because I thought if I was, then I'd be tempted to go out and like drink and party and do these things. And I was like, nope, I can't be around it. So if you guys are doing it, then I'm not going to be around you. I was counting my macros. I was not a fun girl to be around. So I do want to do this. I want to do it for a full 75 days and feel really good, because there are some things that I want to accomplish and get clear with and up-level myself with during this time, and just really like fuel my body, feed my body. This is not a punishment. This is not for weight loss. This is not trying to get abs. This isn't about calorie burning. Like, even if I just go for 2 walks a day, that's great for me. Or half of that walk is a deep stretch. This is not all about weight loss by any means, or muscle gain. It's simply about developing myself, setting a goal, knocking it out. Because by the time we're done with this, we're going to Mount Kilimanjaro, and we're going to Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. I want to have accomplished that before this huge, huge lifetime trip of a lifetime. I'd love for you guys to do this with me. This is coming out on, what is the date today? Hello. It's May 12th. This is coming out. This should be, if you're listening, it's the 16th. Or if you're listening later, totally cool. It is never too late to start. And if you're listening within the next 75 days of May 16th, we're still doing it. Message me on Instagram, ElizaG_wellness, or Hotter Than Health podcast. Let's hold each other accountable. I will do my best. I've been trying not to be on Instagram as much, but I really want to keep posting meals. I want to keep posting about the workouts. Like, if you see me doing that, know that it's for accountability. trust that it is not to look cool, because I want to have a good time with this. I genuinely want to have a good time with this. And sometimes I take myself too seriously, and it's obnoxious, and it's honestly aging. Well, gosh, it feels good. It's Sunday. We've knocked out this episode, a couple other things, and I'm about to go to the store and meal prep. I know this is brief, but if you are in a space of wanting some answers within yourself, wanting to challenge yourself in a new way, wanting to distance yourself from things that aren't serving you, anxiety, work, big decisions, another stream of income, seeking a relationship, like by putting yourselves in situations that you know are like being in the gym more, being at the grocery store more, cooking more, reading personal development books, that puts you into an entire new, what is the word I'm looking for? It will put you into a field of its own and give you a competitive edge mentally, spiritually, physically, that you did not realize was possible for you. And if you do realize it's possible for you, but it's just hard, that's why I want accountability, and that's why I want some joy. Do this with me. It is May 16th. I hope you all are motivated, inspired, and can do this in the way that you want. Write down how you want to process this. Write down your own 75-day hard, but stick to those key principles of no alcohol, extra movement, hydration, and the personal development books. And we're going to do this together. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this. If you really want to uplevel your life, you know that I am always talking about Organifi. And one way, if you say, I want to do 75 hard, but I'm finding it hard to get motivated, I want to do this with you, click on the link in the show notes. Click on Organifi and go ahead and order your greens juice. If you start your day with your greens, you are, one, filling in a ton of nutritional gaps that will help you steer away from sugary or processed foods cravings. You will naturally be filling in the nutritional gaps that you may not already be getting on a day-to-day basis, even with the healthiest diet. I'm obsessed. I take the green apple flavor every single day. My boyfriend takes it. We just love it. Like, we do not start the day. We don't have our coffee. We don't have anything else until we have our Organifi greens. You can get 20% off of any of their products, specifically the green apple greens. And you can take it with you. I ordered some little glass TSA approved travel containers, and I put the greens powder in it. I bring it on all my trips. It is a non-negotiable. I just restocked. I should be getting it tomorrow. Cannot wait. You can check it out, Organifi.com/HTH for 20% off. Click on the link in the show notes or find it anywhere on my Instagram. You know I'm obsessed. Try the greens powder or the protein or any of their beautiful supplements. Again, it's Organifi.com/HTH for 20% off. We will talk to you next Thursday.